Hi everyone. I just needed to make sure that the camera started because I'm not real sure how the whole video thing works. I'm not real good at it. First of all, I want to thank you for watching, and I want to explain what the purpose of this video is. As many of you know, Marissa is my daughter, and she's 20, and she's kind of going through a really difficult medical experience right now, and I know that many of you know that because she posts things and really shares her experience on Facebook with her friends and family. And I haven't mentioned anything on Facebook about it really, or really even been able to talk about it so much because I'm her mom. And I think it's just really important that I do this because I know that you all know Marissa through your personal connections with her, and some of you through your connection with me. And right up front, I just want to say thank you for all the support and the prayers and the love and the good wishes that everybody has sent our way. So I just want to tell you a little bit about Marissa. When she was first born, they put her in my arms, and when I laid her down, I noticed something was wrong with her leg. I don't know if I noticed something was wrong with her leg or if I felt that something was wrong with her leg, and it bothered me. And so I asked the doctor about it immediately when we were in the hospital, and I said, something's wrong with Marissa's leg. And he said, no, it's just really the way that she laid in the womb. And so her leg is a little curved, and that's all. It's no big deal. But over the next several days when I had her home, it really started to bother me, and I couldn't let it go. I took her to the pediatrician, and they said, it's just a curvature of the bone. It's really no big deal. I still wasn't pleased with that, so I kind of insisted a little bit more that they do something. And so he sent me to see a specialist whose name is Dr. Diaz, and he's awesome. But Marissa was diagnosed with fibrous dysplasia in her leg, and so what that is that fragments of the bone, they chip off, and so they could affect her hips, her gait, her walk, etc. They also monitor her whole life for that. So I've been taking her to the doctor actually since she was born for the condition in her leg that was diagnosed as fibrous dysplasia. But then they said that would be over by the time that she went through puberty. And so I thought that they found what the problem was, but I was never at ease with that. And so unfortunately, I know now why I wasn't at ease with that, and that's because when Marissa was 12 years old, she developed a tumor in her left foot, in her ankle. So we just thought it was a fibrous growth and that it was fine, and we took her to see the orthopedic, and they said that all they had to do was operate, take it out, and it would be fine. And so they did, and that was her first surgery. Strangely enough, the fibrous dysplasia and the desmoid tumor that is in her foot, they're not connected to each other. So she had that, but they're not connected. The doctors are saying that they're two different things. And so she had her first surgery when she was 12, and they did remove the tumor. So we thought everything was fine. Everything is fine. About a year and a half later, Marissa started to recognize that her foot was bothering her, her ankle was bothering her, so we took her back to the orthopedic, and he did another x-ray and saw that the tumor was back. At that point, he realized that this was something that he could not deal with, and although they took it to pathology when she was 12 years old, they never let us know that there was a problem there or that was something that they thought would reoccur. We thought it was over. And then at 14 and 16 and 18 and all of these other times, the same thing kept happening. She kept having surgeries, they kept removing the tumor, then it got to the point that they couldn't remove the tumor, so they just debulked the tumor. But every single time that they went in to address this thing, it came back. And so we did a lot of research, and there are different modalities and therapies that they could do for her, but Marissa really stayed away from the chemotherapy and the radiation because there aren't really very many studies that show that that is a successful practice. And so she kind of veered away from that. We did all the other treatments of Western medicine that we were guided to do by her doctors and her surgeons and her therapy, and so we did everything we could for that. She did everything she could, and so we decided that maybe we should try a new approach. So we went to a health institute where their focus and their practice is strictly and completely on holistic remedies. So coupled with the Western medicine from her surgeons and her doctors, we also initiated a holistic therapy practice for Marissa. So she went completely vegan. She went on a lot of supplements, and she did a lot of meditations, practices, lymphatic massage and drainage, and did all kinds of different therapies in the holistic modality. She had acupuncture and massage and deep tissue therapy and reflexology, and it was wonderful. And each of those practices, they helped her. She had shaman. She connected with a shaman man who also did Native American Indian remedies on her, and so we have opened ourselves up to every type of healing modality that we could get our hands on. I tried different things that we brought up the pH balance, and anybody who's struggled with any type of cancers or growths, or even if they're benign, I know you've tried all of these things too. And during this whole process, you get these bridges of hope. You get these bridges where they say, the doctor says, this should work. And you're like, oh, I'm hopeful. And you get happy. And then something happens, and you can't be happy because it didn't work. So then you pray, and you pray, and you pray, and you do novenas, which I did. And then you try again, and something pops up on your Facebook or pops up on your Google search, and it's about a new thing that they discovered, or about somebody who healed their desmoid tumor, or something always gives you this new sense of hope. And so for the last 8 years, we have maintained this faith and stepped onto these bridges of hope that have carried us to where we are tonight. Tomorrow morning, Marissa's going to have an amputation of her lower left leg because the foot is so destroyed from the repetitive surgeries, and the pain is so much for her that she's had to endure, that I've watched her endure. I think she's probably the strongest person I know. But tomorrow morning, that's what they're going to do. And this wasn't an easy decision, although it is the most logical decision. It is the most well thought out decision. It is a very balanced decision, but it isn't a decision that came lightly. And it certainly isn't rendered from a decision that's connected to giving up. Some of our friends, some of the people we know, some of the people I've connected with have encouraged Marissa to try the chemotherapy and the radiation in an attempt to save the foot. But the foot can't be saved, because even if they slow the growth down, the chemo and the radiation doesn't eliminate the tumor. So it will continue to grow. And she'll have too many therapy sessions like that. So Marissa has focused her energy, her faith, her hope, and her prayer on holistic remedies coupled with Western remedies. And we've come to a point, she's come to a point, where the best decision for her future is if she amputates her leg. So I'm the mom. So what am I supposed to do with that? Am I supposed to support that? Am I supposed to encourage freezing the foot, trying to pull the tumor out, and all these other things that they talked about? Like, am I supposed to do that? And that's been my struggle. What is my role as her mom? What is my role as her friend? What is my role as her teacher? What is my role as her guide? And my biggest challenge has been how do I do that in the highest and best benefit of her? Not of me. Not of my feelings, but of her. So I want to explain that because I'm so proud of her. And I'm so proud of the woman that she is today. And I'm so proud of her courage, her strength, but I'm mostly proud of her faith. Because Marissa is the one that taught me about faith. When I was little, our parents used to make us pray at the foot of our bed and include God in our life, and that was important in my family, faith. But faith, when we're challenged with something like this, is the scariest thing, and I think it's the hardest thing to maintain. So Marissa started teaching me about faith when she was about 2. I was standing at the stove, and on that day I had like the worst migraine headache, and I said, I was just standing there at the stove, and I kind of had my head on my hands, and Marissa was like 2.5 or something, and she walked up to me and she's like, "What's wrong, Mama?" I said, "Oh, my head hurts so bad." And she goes, "I'm sorry." And then she went back and was watching Disney or whatever she was watching, and about 20 minutes later, she came back in the kitchen and she goes, "Mommy, my head hurts really bad." And I said, "I'm sorry, baby." I go, and something clicked in me, and I said, "Is that Mommy's headache or is that your headache?" And she goes, "Well, I don't know, but my head hurts." I said, "Well, why don't you go over to the statue of Jesus over there on the little table and tell him that if this is Mommy's headache, can he take it away from you? And if it goes away, then you know it's Mommy's headache. And if it doesn't go away, I'll give you some Tylenol." So that seemed fine for her, and about 5 minutes later, she runs back into the kitchen and she's like, "Mama!" And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "It was your headache." Not that I was so thrilled about that, but I was happy that she said that it was my headache. I said, "Oh, really?" And she goes, "Yeah, Jesus took it right out of my brain because it's yours." And that taught me something about giving our pain to God. So I went over to the Jesus statue and I said, "Lord, will you take my headache?" And he did. And I knew then that I wasn't the teacher. I wasn't the guide. She was. When she was about, and I'm skipping back now to 11 months, but I breastfed Maddie when she was a baby. And I thought when she was about 11 months or so, I was like, well, I probably got to start weaning her. I was working, and it was hard to, get everything ready for her to have breast milk. And I thought about it on my way home one day, and I was like, I really got to start to try to wean Marissa, so this way it's not like cold turkey. So I get home that day, and I picked up Marissa from her babysitter, Ari, who she totally loves. I swear she loved Adi more than she loved me, but in any case, that was a lady that just loved Marissa so much, and Marissa just adored her. And I went to pick her up from Adi's house, and I brought her home, and I'm ready to bust, and I want to feed her. And Marissa decides she's done. She's not breastfeeding anymore. No matter how much I tried to get her, because like I said, it was a rough evening for me, but she didn't want to. So when my husband came home, her dad, I go, you know what, honey? I go, I learned something about this kid today. He's like, what? I'm like, we're not going to be able to make any of this child's decisions. This girl is going to forge her own way. Her spirit is bigger than her body. So the only thing we can do is teach her how to make her own decisions. But I didn't know how significant that was. I didn't know that just that few minutes, that I was like trying to feed her and she just decided no. I didn't know that laughter that arose in me when her daddy came home and I told him, oh, we have one of those kids that like, we're not going to be able to tell her what to do. So then Marissa was 5 actually. Sorry. And she had a loose tooth, like a snaggle tooth. And she had school pictures the next day. Like, I don't know if it was like kindergarten or I think it was kindergarten. Or maybe first grade. And she had pictures the next day at school, her school pictures. And she came home, I think it was kindergarten. She came home and she's like, my loose tooth is going to show in the pictures. And I don't want it to show in the pictures because it's just hanging there. And I'm like, well, Marty, I can pull it out for you. So I went and I grabbed a little paper towel, and I put it in the sink and I wet it with cool water because I'm thinking she's going to open her mouth and let me yank out her tooth. So this way it's not like snaggling in the pictures the next day. Little did I know. So Marissa's like, no, I'm not letting you pull my tooth. You can't pull my tooth. But she was upset about it. And she was like, but how am I going to get it out? And I'm like, honey, I can pull it for you. I can make it better for you. Let me make it better. I'll pull it. And then it's only going to hurt for a second. And then you'll be fine. And you'll be able to have your pictures with no snaggle tooth. And she wouldn't. And I tried to convince her. I tried to bribe her. I asked her if she wanted M&Ms. I tried everything I could with her. And she was like, no. So I said to her, kind of like a smart-ass mom moment. And I was like, hey, then you better go ask Jesus to figure out how to get that tooth out of your mouth and say a little prayer. And she did. We were at the bottom of the stairs, and she got down on her knee. And she goes, Jesus, I have pictures to take tomorrow. Could you pull my tooth? And then her sister, Britt, who was in the shower, calls down to Marissa and says, Marty, will you bring me a towel? I forgot my towel. So Marissa goes to the closet, gets the towel, and brings the towel to Brittany. So she walks in the bathroom and she goes to hand Brittany the towel. And Brittany puts her hand out of the shower. And in putting her hand out of the shower, her hand clashed with Marissa's tooth. And the tooth fell out. So Brittany, of course, was like, oh my God, my sister's bleeding. I punched her in the mouth. And Brittany's really upset because she sees blood coming from Marissa's mouth, and she feels so bad because she thinks that she punched Marissa in the mouth and knocked out her tooth. She thought Marissa was going to be mad at her, but Marissa's holding her tooth in her hand, half crying, half laughing. The blood is coming out of her mouth. She looks up and she goes, that was so fast! Thank you, Jesus! And then when we came down the stairs, she's like, well, is the tooth fairy coming? And I said, yeah. And she goes, should we give the money to Jesus? I'm like, maybe. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Had to have an ugly cry and kind of compose myself, so I did. The next thing I want to tell you about is when she was, I think it was like 7 or 8. She might be able to correct me on the dates and the times and everything. But I had let the girls, I didn't know what to buy them for Christmas because I think these kids had everything. But I didn't know what to buy them for Christmas. So I asked them, like, what do you guys want for Christmas? And they were like, I don't know. You know, they wanted these little things, but nothing like really big. So I told them, okay, I'm going to give you this amount of money, and then you can go online and you can buy whatever you want, and that'll be what you get for Christmas. And so Marissa went online, Brittany went online, they picked the things that they want, they ordered them, and Marissa's favorite thing that she picked, guess what it was? I'm sure you're going to have a really hard time figuring out what this was, but it was a stuffed dog. Ah, shock, I know, but it's true. So Marissa ordered this dog, and Christmas Eve came, and we ordered it in plenty of time for it to get there on Christmas Eve. It was promised by Christmas Eve. You know how when you order on Amazon or something, it says, you know, delivery date promised by Christmas Day, in case you're giving it as a gift. So Marissa, in any case, we ordered it, and it was supposed to come before Christmas. So Christmas Eve came, and the dog did not come. So Marissa was like, the dog didn't come, Mommy. And I'm like, that's okay, honey. They're not going to deliver mail tomorrow because it's Christmas, but they're going to deliver, you know, the next, you know, business day. I said, so as soon as mail starts again, I'm positive that you're going to get the doggy. And she's like, no, but I want it for Christmas. And I'm like, Marty, mail doesn't run on Christmas, honey. I go, there's no way. I go, even if it's at the post office, you can't get it on Christmas. It's just, they don't deliver mail on Christmas. She's like, well, I'm going to see what happens. Yeah, you already know what happened, don't you? The damn dog got delivered on Christmas. So I wake up in the morning. It's about 10. There's a knock on the door. It's the mail lady. And she's got this box. And Marissa's standing behind me. And the mail lady says, you know, this box came in later, and I know it's probably a Christmas present, and I woke up this morning, and I could not go back to work Christmas morning. Go back to work, pick up this box, and deliver it. So I'm here. Merry Christmas. And Marissa and Brittany and I and her daddy, we just stood there and went, what? They don't deliver mail on Christmas. And so after the mail lady left, I said, Marissa. She goes, I knew that God would bring it to me. I asked him last night. The theme is that my daughter has taught me about faith. So now Marissa is in the 4th grade. And for the time that she was in elementary school, her and her friends have been in the same classroom. So kindergarten, preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, same group of kids. Same best friends. Her group of people. All in the same class till the 4th grade. So Marissa, in the 4th grade, finds out that she's not going to be in class with the rest of her classmates. And only one other friend was going to be in the new class. There was a new teacher. There were a lot more kids coming into the neighborhood. She didn't know anybody except one girl on the list of the classroom where she was going to be for the 4th grade. The other little girl's mom, she called over to the school and she told the principal, you know, all of her friends are going to be in this class, and she's been with them for 4 years, and we'd really like our daughter to be in the class with her friends. So Marissa thought that was a great idea. So she comes home and she says, Mom, could you call over to the school so I can be with my friends in the 4th grade, like in the other class? Because nobody knows this teacher. She's a brand new teacher, and nobody wants to go to her classroom. And I don't want to go to her classroom. I want to go with my friends. So I was like, okay, honey, I can do that. But now keep in mind that I've had this child now for a little while. So I've learned something about faith. So I said to her that night, before I called the school, I said, listen, Marty, I go, you have a decision to make, because keeping in mind that I knew that I can't make her life decisions, because a life decision at 11 months old to wean her from breastfeeding, and that she decided that that's what she was going to do, I knew then. And of course, I could talk to you for 100 hours, but there were other things in Marissa's journey since she was a very little girl that taught me that I need to connect her to her own soul so that she could guide her life in the manner that she needed to. And that was my role as her mom, or she would have made that decision when she was 11 months old right out of the blue. So I knew in 4th grade that this was an opportunity for me to teach her about decisions, teach her how to make those decisions, teach her what parts of herself she should look at in order to make those decisions, teach herself how to listen to that inner voice that's going to guide us through our life, that's going to take us through a journey that sometimes is really difficult, that's going to combat our logical brain, that's going to say no to this person or that person. It's important. And it took me to listen to my own self, my own guidance, my own soul, my own inner voice. It took me 28 years to even know or recognize that that was an option. And I knew I couldn't wait for her to be 28. And I knew that it would benefit her and Brittany. So I said to her, I go, Marty, you know, honey, you got a choice here. I go, because sometimes we make our choices in life because our friends are going to be in that class, or I like the people that I'm going to work with, or I want to, you know, whatever it is. We have a human desire and things that make us feel comfortable and things that make us feel joyful and things that we think are going to be exactly what we need to do. So, yeah, of course I want to be in the 4th grade with all of my friends and not with the new teacher who nobody knows. Of course. I said, of course you want that. You should want that. Everybody wants that. That's good. It means you have good friends and nice relationships and you want to maintain them, you want to keep them, and that's great. But here's what I think. Sometimes we make decisions for our own life. And we think we're doing the right thing and that we're like on the right path. But sometimes God comes in and He's like, hey, I know you really want to be in the 4th grade with all of your friends. But I know something about your future. I know something about your journey. I know something about your laughter. I know something about your peace. I know something about you. So maybe God thought that you'd be better off in the other classroom with the new teacher and meeting new people and having new experiences, and maybe God chose that for you. I go, I don't know though, but I'll tell you a secret. You can either pick where God put you in the new classroom with the new teacher, or you can pick what you want. And the coolest, most awesome thing about God is He'll be happy no matter what you choose, because He made you perfect. So He'll be happy if you choose His way, and He'll be happy if you choose your way. Because He loves you forever, no matter what you choose. And so do I. So why don't you take a little bit of time and think about it? She was like, okay. That was it. I didn't bring it up to her actually again after that. I didn't say anything, and I wondered if she was thinking about it or if she was just going to come back like in the morning and be like, yeah, Mom, I thought about it. I really want to be in the 4th grade with my friends. But the day passed and she didn't say anything. And then one of her friends came over and they were talking about it, and even after her friend left, she didn't say anything to me about it again. And then I started getting curious. I'm like, wow, she hasn't said whether she wants to be in Miss Novak's class or if she wanted to be with the other teacher where all her friends are. Her other friend already got moved. Then I was like perplexed, like she must be really thinking about it. So then like 3 days passed. It was finally like 3 days. So 3 days passed and she comes and she brings it up out of the blue and she's like, hey, Mommy. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, so I was thinking about it and I asked God about it, and actually I think I'm going to stay in the classroom that God wants me to be in. There's got to be a reason. And I said, yeah, I'm sure there's a reason. So I didn't call the school. I didn't transfer her class. I did actually leave her in the new class. So during that 4th grade class, all of her friends in the other classroom were getting a ton of homework. They didn't like their teacher so much. They complained all the time. And Marissa's class loved her teacher. Her teacher took a liking to her. Marissa used to help her grade papers. She had the best 4th grade. If you ask her today, what is your favorite year of school, she'll probably tell you the 4th grade, because she loved her teacher. She was encouraged. She was validated. She had the best time and made the best friends and loved it. And at the end of the year, I was like, so, are you glad you made the choice you made? And she goes, yeah, Mom, God's always right, I guess. Yeah. Even though sometimes we wish He wasn't. We wish He wasn't right. So it brings me to 12 years old. At 12 years old, I had come home from doing a gallery session down in Tinley. And Marissa was up and we were talking and we were chatting and everything. And I don't know how the conversation got started, but it was something about like working for God. You know, we were talking about her future, what she wanted to do for her career. And I said, you know, you have such a nice relationship with God that He's probably going to want you to do stuff, you know, because you've been doing kind of stuff and you really trust Him. I go, but I don't know. It's kind of hard sometimes, honey. You feel what people feel. People in heaven need you to do stuff that other people make you think, you know, you're crazy. The people you love the most in the world, they sometimes reject you. Sometimes you feel people's physical pain. I go, it's not an easy journey to commit yourself to God. But yet, if you commit yourself to God, no matter what you go through, there's a joyfulness that sits in your heart, because I'm an empath. I talk to people in heaven. I talk to people on earth. I talk to their souls. Sometimes I'm sick for 3 days with cancer, and it's not mine, but I'm sick. Sometimes I'm sick with heart condition, and I can't breathe, and it's not me. Sometimes I'm angry, and I'm emotional, or I'm jealous, or I'm having these crazy emotions, and I don't know how to be me in those emotions, to come to find out that they're not me. It's somebody I'm going to talk to. It's their mom or their dad, or it's their soul, or it's part of their journey. And so when we commit to God, you commit to God, meaning your life is lived in the glory of Him. And joyfulness resides inside of you. Even if life sometimes beats you down, even if the people in your life make fun of you, even if they tell you you're psychotic and you're crazy and blah, 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 that's all you do, even if they judge you, even if you break, having that surrender of your humanity to Him allows you to face anything. I go, but as your mom, just get a regular job, baby. Because, I'm the mom. So I get it as the spiritualist, but as the mom, get a regular job. And she says to me, no. If God wants me to work for Him, I would do whatever He wants. Anything. I go, think about that, Marissa. Think about it. Because if you do that, you will go through a journey where your trust must always be in the path that He asks you to follow, not the path that you might choose. But if you do, commit that of yourself. He'll take care of everything. She goes, oh, no, yeah. Real easy, she said it. Like, didn't even think about it. She's like, oh, no, yeah. Like, He does everything I want. He always answers me, Mom. I'll do anything because I know He'll always take care of it. And I think I told my friend that night on the phone with her, I'm like, oh, my goodness. Marissa said she would commit herself to God. What do you think that's going to mean for this poor kid's life? And 6 months later, she developed this damn tumor. And every step of the way, she's trusted Him. And I'm so proud of her. Her surgeon, before her last surgery, said to us, work like it's all up to you. Pray like it's all up to God. It hit me because that's exactly what my daughter did. She worked like it was all up to her. She changed everything about her life. She forgot about chocolate chip cookies and huevos rancheros and tacos de carne asada and tamales and scrambled eggs and brownies. She ate avocado and greens and spinach and chia seeds and seed milk and every supplement you can think of, did every acupuncture, every chakra treatment, everything. She worked so hard, like it was all up to her. But she prayed like it was all up to God. And when she worked like it was all up to her, she surrendered to it be all up to God. And that's the place from which my daughter made her decision. This is a path that Marissa is following. One laid out to her, through her, by God. Her life has been an expression of Him. Her decisions have been in glory of Him. The whole purpose of this video. Please pray for my daughter. Please pray that the doctor's hands are steady, that they are attentive and detail-oriented. Pray for God to work through them. Pray for her surgeon's peace. Pray that they wake up in the morning calm and peaceful and with Him in their hearts. That this amputation will go successfully, technically, the way it's supposed to. That nerves will be rerouted correctly. Pray that angels are with her. That's all. That's all, because that's gonna make the difference. So, please pray for my daughter. Her surgery is at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's a pretty lengthy surgery, so we're probably looking at maybe 4 hours or maybe a little more. If you could start praying for her today and remember her at 10 a.m. Please send her love and light and healing. And thank you, because I know that where more than one or more are praying, that He is there, and we need Him there, and we need your prayers. And the dogs agree. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you for watching and listening if you made it through. God bless you all. Now I just gotta figure out how to turn this thing off.